Hey everybody, welcome back. Hey, we're going to do a quick little snippet here. I got a story to tell about my time in the Marine Corps. So just to clarify a few things, I was in the Marine Corps Infantry. I was in 1-7, 1st Battalion, 7th Marines from 2006 to 2010. So it's a timeline that we're working on here. PokerGuy, you've got a little bit of military experience as well, right?
I've got a lot of military experience. Some would say more military experience than what you have.
Well, go ahead and enlighten me. What do you have as far as, hardcore freedom defense of perhaps maybe not real terrorists, but electronic terrorism?
Yeah, a lot of digital anti-terrorism in my past. I don't like talking about it too much because it brings back a lot of odd feelings, but I'll just go through and highlight a couple of the things that I've got going on. Let me see. 3,000 Conquest flag capture medals. Got the 100 bomb delivery medals, 60 defuse medals, a lot of obliteration medals, a couple link breaker medals, not a lot, but enough to be scared. Definitely top 10% in the Little Bird. It's like I've spent about 5 hours in that. I've also got a lot of kills in the Haytune and also in the Viper. So needless to say, I've had a lot of experience in the military myself.
Yeah, I mean, you're peacocking there a little bit. You got a big set of ribbons when it comes to Battlefield 4. No combat action ribbon on your chest, but hey, you got that helicopter shit going on.
Killed 61,000 people, and I myself have been dead 40,000 times. So I've got a pretty good KD at coming in at 1.5. So let's just say
That's a very solid KD. I might have to, we're spoiling the punchline there. I mean, that's impressive. But anyhow, I was in the actual infantry, not the electronic infantry. Not as well decorated as you are. Not anywhere near 60,000 kills. But my KD is unlimited because I have 0 Ds. Because I'm sitting here talking. So I've got an infinity KD at this point.
You can't divide by 0 for all those.
Can't divide by 0. All right. That was a tough math problem for us earlier here, trying to figure out wins per Gruden or Gruden value per wins. Finally got a handle on that. It's at 100 million right now for anyone still doing the math on that. But anyhow, one of the things that people don't realize about Marines is that we're liars. All right. For the most part, there's a thing going around about Marines don't lie, cheat, or steal. I never met a Marine that didn't lie, that didn't cheat, and didn't steal. All right. But we all do it to varying degrees. And this little story is about the biggest liar that I ever met. All right. So this is the fucking biggest liar that I have ever laid eyes on, that has ever assaulted my ears with just an insane amount of bullshit. When I got back from my first deployment, I had the privilege / agony of going to infantry squad leaders course. So I did that. And meanwhile, when you get back from your deployment, most of your units kind of decompressing. It takes a while to kind of get back in the flow of things and get worked up for your next trip overseas. So I ended up missing kind of the best easy part while I was out there getting my ass kicked. But you come back, you feel good about it, feel salty, and you get back to your unit. When you get back to your unit, you got new guys, and they're called boots. So we call all our new guys boots. And that's a little acronym. I don't know if you ever heard about this, but we love acronyms. And it's for barely out of training.
Nice.
Boot is what you would call a noob in your field of warfare. All right. So same thing that you would call a noob, we call them a boot. All right. So these guys hadn't been in combat the same way that other people haven't spent 5 hours in the Little Bird. So these guys, they're boots, they're noobs, and they've all got their own personalities. And the guy I'm going to talk about here is PFC Smith. So this guy Smith, he came to our unit, and he was one of my boots. I was in charge of him, and one of the things about him, he was an odd-looking fellow. So he was a white guy, and there's this old show called Life Goes On. And there's this developmentally challenged guy on there. His name was Corky. And that's what this dude looked like. So he looked like a dude with a developmental disorder. Not a good-looking guy. And then he had a wife who also not a good-looking lady. So he drove around this 1990s Crown Vic. He only had one car, so she would drive him back and forth. And his peers, like his fellow boots, they would see this and they would shit all over her because she had a very big forehead. And they would get in arguments. They'd be like, yo, man, she don't have a 4 head. She got 5 head. And some other guy would be like, that bitch got a 6 head, man. She fucking huge. So they were all over this guy. And there was 2 reasons they didn't like him. One, he was a fucking, what we call a broke dick. So he was a guy who had a lingering knee injury from, I think, before he got in the Marine Corps, but they let him in. And then he got in there and he always had like this knee problem. So we'd be out training and he couldn't, he always had a little chit from the doctor where it's like, oh, he's on light duty and there's all this stuff that he can't do. So I was like, okay, we're out there in the hot desert sun, training our balls off, running around with all his gear on, and he couldn't run. But I'll tell you what, that motherfucker could dig. Right? And one of the things I always had that guy doing was I made him fucking dig holes all over that base. I was like, listen, dude, if we're going to be fucking working, you're going to be working. So we had these little things called E-tools. And an E-tool is like a giant garden spade. It's like if a garden spade got fucked by like a regular shovel, it would give birth to like an E-tool. That's what I'd make that dude do. He just had this little shovel, and I'd make him just dig holes all over the place while we were training. The other reason why people didn't like him is because he was a fucking liar. The biggest liar I've ever met. Like I said, in general, hey, we're all fibbers. No Marine is a stranger to a nice fishing story. You get those fishermen, they go out there, and I'll tell you what, man, it was 100 pounds if it was an ounce, man. It was a big old fish. He loved to tell lies. So Smith is 22 years old. He looks like he's got Down syndrome, and he can't stop lying. So he's 22 years old, and here's a list of some of the lies that he told us. Number 1, he used to train and work with the Detroit SWAT department. Number 2, he's a licensed pilot. Number 3, he's a professional bounty hunter. Okay. Number 4, and my personal favorite, he is Kid Rock's personal Detroit area bodyguard. And then number 5, he's a former nightclub bouncer. Even though he's barely old enough to drink, he goes around acting like he's fucking Dalton from Roadhouse, ripping people's throats out. It's like, dude, you are not a legendary cooler. You are a fucking liar, bro. Like, you're a liar. That's just like a sampling of his lies. But that brings me to my personal favorite lie of his that he ever told. So we were stationed out in 29 Palms, California, Mojave Desert. It's very hot in the summertime, but it gets pretty nasty in the wintertime as well. And our second deployment, before we shipped out there, we went to this thing called Mojave Viper. And Mojave Viper is a 30-day training exercise. It's funny because on the base, there's this place called Camp Wilson. And all it is a bunch of tin cans with cots inside of it where everybody sleeps, and then you go in and out of these training ranges. It's usually used by people that are not from that base, but they made our unit go out there, and they made us stay at that base too, because it's a very tight schedule that you're working on, and you can't have people back in the barracks getting fucked up, playing video games and doing all sorts of shit. Like, we had one day off for that, and it was a shit show trying to get everybody back to go out there. Like, one of my buddies showed up soaking wet. Like, his camis are like soaking wet. We're like, what the fuck happened to you, man? He's like, oh, my air conditioner leaked, and I had him wadded up on the floor, and it leaked all over him. And I woke up like 10 minutes before I had to be here, so I couldn't throw him in the dryer. So he was just standing there with like dripping wet camis. He's not the type of guy that would ever give a shit, but he got in a bit of trouble for that. But anyhow, we were heading out, and the company had to go run one of these ranges. It's called 410 Alpha. And it's one of the absolute worst ranges to run. It's long. It's hard. There's just giant hills everywhere.
Give me some mileage to get an idea of how much you're running. Give me like a time.
Oh, man, it's maybe like 2 miles.
Oh, okay.
But you're carrying a full battle load. And there's a lot of hills. There's a lot of terrain. There's a lot of bullshit going on. Right? It's fucking tough. Like, it sucks. I hated it. The only one that's worse on that base is probably range 400, which is even longer and shittier, and you're doing like a full-on assault. It sucks. Nothing fun about it.
Sure.
But then you also got to like go out and camp there too. So you go out the day before, and then, but the thing about it is you don't just run it one time. You run it like a million fucking times. And then you do it once at the end with live ammo. So you actually end up running this thing dry, and then you got to go back there, run it with live ammo, and then you're pretty much done.
Nice.
We get left behind. I ended up working it out so that I got left behind because I was like, okay, how do I get out of this? You're always trying to skate out of stuff. You want to get the fuck out of anything you can get out of. The smaller unit you're with, the better off you are. And if you can get away from like the company in general, you're way better off.
Sure.
So I ended up getting in the left behind element. And one of the things that we were in charge of, everyone had all their shit in these giant tuna cans. That sounds like it's a place where it sounds like you've been broadcasting from for the last couple months. So it's this giant aluminum can with a bunch of like 50 cots in each one of them. So there's, I don't know, 5, 6 of these giant tuna cans for the company. And our job is to make sure that no one steals our shit out of there during the day. But I'm not a boot, and we had a bunch of boots with us. So I'm not standing Firewatch. Firewatch, you're not really looking for fires. It's not like a great name for it. You're more just security. So, but when I say Firewatch, I'm talking about guys that are on security.
You just kind of hang out there and just do nothing.
Yeah, you hang out, you walk around, but you got to do it 24 hours a day. So there's Firewatch roaming around there at 2 or 3 in the morning. Yep. And this is going on in January. I think we deployed in February. So this is going on like December, January timeframe. It's fucking cold. It's raining. Miserable weather. And I was super stoked. Like I was super stoked because I knew that my whole company was out there in the field and they were getting it. Like they're in like little tents and shit in the ice cold rain. And I am inside. Granted, I'm only inside of a tuna can, but it's much warmer and much drier than whatever they get going on.
Exactly.
And misery is always relative. And if you're less miserable, then damn it, that is the place to be. So I wake up one morning and I go out and we have these little accountability formations where they're like, let's make sure everybody's fucking here. Everybody's breathing, nobody left, all that sort of stuff. So we go out, we're getting ready for morning accountability. And I smoked a lot of cigarettes in the Marine Corps. I don't smoke anymore, but man, I smoke a lot of cigarettes in the Marine Corps. So I go out and I go to the smoke pit. And wouldn't you know it, old PFC Smith is in the smoke pit. And I hear him telling this story. And I'll never forget it. He's standing around, we're all smoking. I'm not talking to him, I'm just off to the side here. The night before was fucking miserable. Like it was miserable. Raining, cold, just a nightmare. Morning's a little bit better. I'm drawing in those sweet toxins that are helping me kill not just the minutes of the day, but my own time here on this earth. I'm 7 minutes less on the earth because I smoked this cigarette while I was listening to this shit go down. He gets going and he starts talking to this other guy. So he's talking to a couple of these other boots and he starts spinning this tale. He's smoking and he goes, hey man, here's the deal. So I was walking around on Firewatch last night. The other dude's like, hey, what time did you have it, man? It's like from 0300 to 0400. I was like, oh man, dude, must have been raining balls out there. He's like, yeah, it was, but I was walking around and then like out of nowhere, like I see this person walking up like towards the PX. They get closer and they come up to me and I was like, dude, it was some female corporal. And the guy's like, man, damn, dude, she hot? He's like, yeah, bro. Yeah, she was like pretty hot. But anyhow, like she comes up to me. She's like, hey man, do you know where the Warriors Club is? Like the Warriors Club is this little like fucking hangout spot. It's like wherever Zach Morris and AC Slater were hanging out at. It's like the Marine version of that on this little like shit post where we were at.
Let me interrupt you for really quick for 1 second. Do people take this guy seriously when he's talking? Like, are other people like listening to him and like really into his stories?
Some do, some don't. The people he's talking to right here, they are fucking believing every word that's coming out of his mouth.
For the
because they
most
don't
part,
really
though.
know this guy. Like there are other boots from other companies and shit. They don't know who they're dealing with. Right. So
Right.
they are going, I'm standing there and I'm just like trying to not bust into this conversation and call him a liar the whole time. But they are eating this shit up. Because that's the other thing about Marines. They not only are they lie a lot, but they will fucking believe the stupidest shit. And they will believe it. It's like, dude, how the fuck are you believing that? Like, no. There are many a Marine that has fallen victim to an online catfishing prank. I guarantee it. Because there's some gullible sons of bitches, man. Like, it's 18-year-old kids, 18 to 22-year-old kids that still want to believe in something. You know, they're fighting for their country because they believe in things. And they don't have that bullshit filter, like, completely set up until they get about 2 or 3 years into it. And then they don't believe anything. So the pendulum swings pretty quickly. But if you're a new guy, hey, guess what? Some recruiter just duped you. You know, you've fallen for some bullshit. So you are more apt than the average person to believe something like this. So he's going, and he's like, she comes up to me, man. She's like, where's War Club at? So I pointed out. I told her it was closed. And we started talking, man. We really hit it off. And next thing I know, this chick is asking me if she could suck my dick. suck his dick. So he is in the middle of a rainstorm at 3 a.m. And this is going on. This is what he's trying to sell. So this other dude's like, no way. No fucking way. He's like, way. He's like, dude, that's awesome, man. He's like, that's awesome. Did you get her to suck your dick, man? No, I didn't. I told her that I couldn't, because I was married, man. I couldn't do it, man, because I was married. And I'm just standing there and I'm going through like all these things in my mind. It's like, dude, you want me to believe, like, and he's a PFC too. Like, you want me to believe that some female corporal is like so desperate for dick that she's tramping around the dark, cold rain, just like in search of any cock she could find to suck? Because, like, dude, if you're a woman in the Marine Corps, you got an unlimited amount of high-ranking dry dick that you could get your hands on at any point in time. Like, you don't have to go fishing like this. Like, you just don't. It doesn't need to happen. I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for, like, one of these dudes to, like, call bullshit on this guy. But he was able to, like, spin these yarns in a way where, people believed he was telling the truth. So then we give him, like, all right, man, how's this going to happen, man? So some guy's like, dude, it's like, are you serious? Why the fuck would you turn that down? It's like, I had to, man. I'm married. And then some guy looks at him. He's like, I'll tell you what, man. You are a buddy fucker. Buddy fucker? He's like, why am I a buddy fucker? Dude, why didn't you come wake me up, man? Why didn't you come wake me up?
That's crazy, dude. You got to keep these military stories coming, man.